Welcome to Kiss List Confessions, where authors of kissing books talk about kissing. I'm Melanie Johnson, and today I have my special guest, Adele Buck. Hi, Adele.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to talk to another theater person, which I
Mm,
take you are.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a teensy bit about your theater background?
Yeah, well, I was an actress from the age of 10 to about the age of 21, whereupon I graduated from college and realized that acting had become work and that, the struggle was not going to be worth it for me anymore. And so I transitioned to other things. And then later on, when I started thinking about a place to a setting for a book, specifically a setting for a modern spin on Austen's Lady Susan, I was like, where would we find a character like Susan Vernon? Oh, theater.
Yes, can find all kinds of characters off stage as well as on stage.
Exactly,
Theater.
exactly.
Great.
Susan is
Yeah.
very much an onstage character. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about your books later. I'm excited to get to that. But first, we got to dive into what we're here for, which is kissing. So, uh, our favorite little icebreaker is to tell us about your first kiss. And this is what you decide as your first kiss, because people sometimes feel like, those little childhood smooches, that happen in the backyard. Like, not speaking from experience or anything, like that those don't count. Like, so whatever you consider to be your first kiss, describe it
Well,
in 3 words.
this is my first kiss. I was an adolescent.
Hmm.
I don't remember any of the backyardy little kid stuff. That wasn't really my thing. But so this was my first kiss, and it was basically on a dare. So it's still, despite the fact that it was what it was. I've actually taken notes because I wanted to not be caught off guard. So my 3 words were awkward, braces, dare.
Awkward, braces, dare. Well, the
Yeah.
first two, I could see how they would go together very well. So, who had the braces?
Uh, Actually, for the first, I had finally gotten mine off, and so they were on him.
Oh, I
Um,
guess it'd be worse if you both had them on.
yeah, probably. Although it wasn't that involved a kiss, so it wasn't. It was interesting because it was kind of pretty well negotiated up front since it was a dare. I was just sort of like, okay, fine, no tongue.
Okay, so awkward, braces, dare. So, who dared who? Was it between the two of you, or was this an outside friend who
This
dared
was a
you?
this was a back of the bus coming from back from a field trip kind of a situation, as if I recall correctly. It was just a long
Okay,
time
so
ago.
because your braces had just come off, so are you talking like late middle school, like seventh, eighth grade, somewhere in there?
I was 13 or 14,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
So
like
it
eighth
was
grade, freshman year,
8th or
somewhere
ninth grade, yeah, yeah. Late bloomer me.
in there. No. So back
It
of the
seemed
bus.
like
Oh yeah, all kinds of things happen in the back of the bus. Like,
shenanigans, man.
so,
Total.
so someone dared you or him?
I don't even remember. I just remember that it was just kind of this, we're bored, let's ping at each other kind of a situation. Maybe it wasn't even a dare. I don't know, but it was just kind of it was a group pressure sort of situation, which was one of the reasons why I feel so proud that at the time I was able to negotiate some boundaries up front.
Right. So no tongue. What were some of the other boundaries?
I just only remember the no tongue
Okay. Okay. And
because I was like, dude, I we were he and I were friendly in that way. It was this particular school that I went to. It was really, really, really small. It was a small private school, and so my graduating class, which he and I were both in, I think we had 32 kids in it.
yeah, that's
So
about the size. I went to a small. Yeah.
you get that kind of like, I know you, but I don't know you that way kind of feeling, because we've been going to school together for 4 years. This not big, but this small group of us,
Hmm.
and so yeah, it was yeah, yeah. I was trying to think today about, like, to try to remember, like, what was my first really good kiss, and I don't think it happened until I was out of high school.
Oh.
Yeah, which is sad.
I think, like you said, it's different for everyone. So obviously this was your first kiss, and it was, I'm taking, not that thrilling. Like
No, it was more like, okay, good, kind of like
we did it, now go harass somebody else. Like
bucket list
group.
junior kind of, like, oh, okay, so I'm past that. It's no longer my first. Whatever comes next will never ever be my first.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's done. So then you
Yep,
got to kind of to move along.
behind
So,
me.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, when you think about like who you might like to kiss, and again, this is just fantasy world, and nobody's like running up to people in real life and doing
Oh
this.
gosh, no.
So if 3 celebrities that you
Yes,
would like to kiss.
I enjoyed this so much. Think about this. So my first one is Dermot Mulroney.
Oh,
Because first of all, he's age appropriate for me, and actually,
let me. He's in my best friend's wedding. Yes,
the wedding date.
the wedding date. Thank you.
He was also in my best friend's wedding, but I think of him more as a wedding date because I actually just finished a novella that is loosely based on that movie, and so he's so confident and so sexy in that movie. That whole scene by the car where he's like, close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. And it's like, whoa, okay.
Kind of nice to let someone else take the wheel.
Exactly. So yeah, he is number one on my list.
Okay.
The second one on my list is Keanu Reeves.
Not a bad choice at all. I think many
No.
people in Romancelandia will agree with you.
Absolutely, and specifically for his character in I'll Always Be My Maybe, which is,
I
again,
was going to ask, like, what version of Keanu Reeves? Because everyone does have, like, their favorite Keanu. So you're
well,
kind of like, go ahead. I'm not going to.
well, like I said, this is trying to be more age appropriate for me. But I have to say also, like, Keanu Reeves in The Replacements, I would never kick out of bed for eating crackers because, oh my God, that man was so fine, in that time of his life as well. I mean, he's just aging beautifully, so it's not an issue. But that movie is like, whenever there goes around on Twitter, it's like, what's the best movie that like you feel like nobody has ever seen?
I
And I'm
don't
like,
know
The
The
Replacements.
Replacements, so I'm going to have to write this down because I have not watched it. So it's funny that you mentioned this too, the age appropriate stuff and how he's aging, because my husband and I just had this conversation where he was talking about how he was rather envious of Keanu and how he feels like Keanu is aging backwards. And he's like, he looks better now than he did back then. I'm like, I wouldn't say that, but he looks pretty good.
I think he's just one of those people who looks very good at a bunch of different ages. I mean, like Christopher Plummer is the same way. As a senior citizen, he's fine. Similar to and same as Richard Chamberlain, which I always feel really weird about because my dad looks an awful lot like Richard Chamberlain, believe it or not. So, like, to acknowledge that he's a nice looking man, it's like
some awkward feelings.
It's a little weird, but it's true. He's aging very nicely. So yeah. And then my number 3 is just a complete. I'm Scandinavian, so this is my complete Scandinavian dreamboat, Alexander Skarsgård.
Well, as soon as you said Scandinavian, and I'm like, oh, I know who she's going to say.
It could have been. No, he's Dutch, isn't he?
There are some other hot ones, but like he just the first one that comes to mind for me as well. Just
Yeah, and he does also tend to play very like cool, smooth, got it together kind of guys in a lot of roles. So apparently I have a type, at least fictional type. My husband is absolutely lovely, but he's not necessarily like Mr. Cool, Smooth, and Take Control, which would probably is good because it would probably cause problems in our marriage.
Isn't that interesting? I feel like like what we enjoy sometimes in the media that we kind of devour is different than what we enjoy in real life. It's a fascinating subject. So that all very fine choices.
Thank you.
And then as far as like moving from meet cutes with real people, we're going,
Mm-hmm.
that's right, kisses with real people, we're going to move over to fictional characters. Now, this one is interesting because it's not necessarily characters who you have seen kiss on the page. It is just characters who you feel something about them, the way that they're written or how they're described. You're like, oh yeah, they would be a good kisser.
Yeah, and I included TV as well because but it's interesting because actually my first one is Trevor Belmont from Castlevania.
I don't know that. Are you talking about what?
It is it's a Netflix animated series.
Okay.
And he's voiced by, oh my God, what's his name? Romance Landia's favorite guy from North and South. From the miniseries North and South. I've got, when this goes live, people are going to be screaming. I'm going to be able to hear it.
what the name is?
Yeah, it'll come to me later. You can look it up and you flash it up on the screen. Who she means is this person because her brain is falling out of her head. But Trevor Belmont, he is a monster hunter basically, and he's this kind of disgruntled bit of beefcake, but he's also got this sort of gooey inside. And I just think he would be an amazing kisser.
Disgruntled bit of beefcake is quite the description.
Well, I think we first meet him and he's like sagged out against a bar drinking a beer and like, leave me alone kind of guy.
Are you okay? So I Googled this. Are you talking about Richard Armitage?
Yes, Richard Armitage. Yes.
There we go.
Thank you for that.
Obviously, I have not watched North and South, and I need to.
I have not either. I have seen Richard Armitage in other things. It's just that I know that from the gifts that get deployed on Twitter, that's like everybody's go-to is North and South.
Right, and then so I mean, and this is the voice that you've got through this character. You might be. I don't think. I'm trying to think if you're the first animated character. No, I think there might have been a few others, but good choice.
I'm pretty sure you probably had a Robin Hood fox in there somewhere.
If not yet, there will be eventually.
There will be eventually, definitely.
And it's such a weird one because I remember as a kid being like finding something. I couldn't just name what that feeling was, like I did not know what lust was or have lust for a fox. So if I had been able to identify it, I would have been like, what's wrong with me? But then no, like apparently there are a lot of us who.
It's totally a thing. I don't know that I ever even saw that movie as a kid.
I definitely did.
But I do know that I had very fuzzy feelings for the blonde guy on the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, Saturday morning cartoons. So yeah. So cartoon lust is a thing, and the adult expression of that for me is apparently Trevor Belmont.
All right. So fictional characters. So again, it does not have to be books, but so any media.
The second one is a book.
Okay.
The second one is absolutely a book, and it is Harry from Rosaline Palmer Takes the Cake.
Okay.
And he is a working class bloke. He's an electrician who's gotten onto this baking show. It's a classic trope of Great British Baking Show, which is that there's always at least one or two tradesmen, and everybody's kind of like, how can this be? And it's like every season has them. Of course there is. Why are people still surprised? But Harry he's just so incredibly kind, and he's patient. And at one point, like when they're having their first sex scene, basically, she has mentioned earlier when she's with somebody else that that they paid a lot of attention to her boobs, and she's like, that doesn't really do it for me, but it's a nice gesture, whatever. And so when she and Harry are first in bed, he starts to touch her there, and then he's like, oh, that doesn't do it for you, and she's like, no, it's fine. He's like, no, if you're not having fun, I'm not having fun. And so I think he would be an absolutely wonderful kisser.
So
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like, he's a little bit sweeter than, domineering, but still kind of this like, I'm going to make sure that you're taken care of.
Paying attention.
Yeah.
Absolutely laser focused, paying attention. And then my last one, just because I've, within the last couple of weeks, I saw that episode of Ted Lasso, Sam Obisanya.
This is he who plays I am saving Ted Lasso
He,
for after I finish a book.
then I will not spoil you. He is one of the players on the team. He was
Is this
more,
is this Roy Kent or is this someone else?
no, this is the character's name is Sam Obisanya.
Okay.
And he's definitely not age appropriate for me. But he is, again, he's just very genuine and kind and pays attention. And he's lovely. Lovely,
That's
lovely, lovely.
I'm everyone who talks about this show, like I'm like, I'm going to
Yeah.
watch. I'm saving it, keeping it as
That's
a
right.
present.
I could spoil the heck out of it for you, but I'm not going to.
So I think by the time I get to it, there will be a lot of things I've already kind of like, no matter how hard I don't like look at it, like it's just out there everywhere. But
Honestly, I think there's
it sounds
probably
lovely.
a lot of at least fictionally good kissers on Ted Lasso for a lot of different reasons. So yeah, because Roy Kent would have also been an excellent choice. Even Ted himself would have been an excellent choice, as we see in the second season, which I'm not spoiling for you.
Yes. So I'm like, I got the replacements to watch. Ted Lasso is already on my list. All right. So we're going to move from fictional characters to, I would like to talk about actual kissing scenes that have happened either in movies, TV, what have you. So your favorite kissing scenes.
Yes. So my first one is the sort of montage makeout scene from My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Okay.
And one of the reasons for that is I really like watching the commentary, the directors and actors commentaries that sometimes they package with the DVD or Blu-ray,
Yeah.
and that scene I always kind of just, first of all, I love that actor, and John Corbett. There, I thought of an actor's name. Whee! And then second of all, I really really always liked that scene, and then the actress slash writer, when she's talking about that scene in the voiceover, she talks about how it's like, yes, just men, hold the back of our heads. That is it. That is absolutely it. And I was like, yes, that's what makes that scene for me, because it's like, it signals so much commitment to the kissing,
So interesting. So you're talking about the back of the head, because I know I had someone else talk about the sides of the face. So it's interesting talking about those different.
The next one is actually the last. All three of mine are very different. Like all three of my sort of celebrities were like for very similar reasons. These are all very, very different kisses. So the last scene in Persuasion, the Karen Hines and Amanda Root version from the middle and late 90s, and I love that one because it is so achingly tender and slow and gentle. And Karen Hines is bending down from approximately 18 feet high to kiss Amanda Root, who's about the size of a hobbit, I think. And he's got this expression on his face where he's kind of like, we've gone through all of this. It has taken us years. We're finally here. And she just kind of looks like she's been poleaxed. She can't believe it. And it's the sweetest, gentlest, and it is such a great punctuation mark between all the stuff they got through to get there and then the rest of their lives together.
Right. Yeah. So that the kiss kind of like takes that and is like, we finally were here.
Yeah, it's like a signpost. Or a mile marker for their relationship. I just absolutely love it. And then the last one is because I am a huge fan of this sadly no longer going television show, Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. The final scene of the final show, they finally have, really their only, as far as we know, consensual kiss on screen, because in the first series there's one thing where she's looking over her shoulder and he's like, no, you can't look, and he like turns her head and he kisses her, and that has legitimately bothered a lot of the fandom. But this one, she's about to fly off with her father because she needs to deliver her father to England, and he shows up at the airfield. She comes running towards him, and this is a
Mm.
yeah, and the heads tilt, and the kisses, and it's a very committed kiss. And it is just, and it is, again, went through 3 seasons of just
I know those are the ones that are really like the ones with all of that buildup that are like, ah. So do they actually run to each other as well? Is there some running involved, or she runs to him?
She runs to him. Yeah, he pulls up in his car, and and it's literally an airfield. It's just a field, and she dashes towards him in her pilot's outfit, and
oh yeah, I can feel like the energy of it. Yes.
yeah, it's fantastic.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So speaking of in an airfield and how picturing that and running through the field, 3 ideal kissing locations. Now these can be from personal experience. They can be bucket list locations, or just that you feel like, yeah, this is a place that I want to be kissed in. This is the atmosphere. Yeah.
I only came up with 2. Honestly, which is weird. But so first of all, one of my favorite vacations that I've had with my husband was to the Bahamas. And I'm not usually much of a beach person, but honestly, it was just, that the kind of floating around in the water, kind of just not a care in the world, kind of just
that like letting yourself be somebody else for a little bit, or releasing your inhibitions in a sense.
It's not even so much released inhibitions. It's just like, I don't have any responsibilities right now. And and kissing you is a fantastic way to express that.
That makes a lot of sense. When I think about like just through our day-to-day lives, my husband, if he's like, tries to give me a hug or a kiss, and I'm like, I have to do these 10 things,
Right. Yeah, there's none of that. You're floating around in the ocean, and you're having these salty kisses, and it's great. It's fun.
Really
my second one, for the exact opposite reason, is my sofa. Because my husband, of an evening, if we're watching television or we're reading books or whatever, sometimes I will just take one of he'll be leaned up against the arm of the sofa, and I will take one of the sofa cushions, and I'll just like put myself, between his legs and lean back. And then there's those kind of like like twisting around and just, hi, because you're here.
Like we're very comfortable. We're together.
Yeah.
You're right. It is a different type of kiss, but also incredibly romantic and sweet. And
yeah, very, very day to day. It's funny because my husband and I did not see this coming. We were living together. It was before we got married, obviously. We had gotten into bed one night, and he does this kind of, I'm reading, and this is about 20 years ago. And he goes, so oh, he wants me to kiss him. Okay, I kissed him. I go back to my book because I have my priorities. And he does it again, and I'm like, so I kiss him again, and I'm kind of like, this is weird. And then finally, he does it again, and I look at him, and he's just like not moving to kiss me, and I'm like, yeah, and he's like, will you marry me? And it was so conversational. I was just like, it took my brain probably like what felt like 30 minutes. It was probably half a second to go from like, what should we talk about? Of course, we've talked about getting married. Oh, this is a proposal. Oh.
Did you ever ask him if that was planned or spontaneous?
Well, what was funny is that we were living in Somerville, Massachusetts at the time, and I was kind of learning how to navigate a city on a bicycle because I grew up in the country, and it was very nerve-wracking for me. And we'd gone for a bike ride earlier that day, and he said he thought about bringing the ring with him then, and then like doing it on the bike ride. And I was such a grump. He was really glad he decided not to.
Yeah.
Fair.
definitely. Yeah, no, I hear you. So like, well, I mean, so he probably was like, all right, let's just do it now.
Yeah, so basically he produced The Ring from under the covers. Yeah, I was like, yeah, there it is. Yeah, and
Well,
yeah,
you said 20 odd years later, so
well,
obviously it worked.
yeah, it was 19 years ago, 19 and a half years ago. Yes, we've been together for longer than 20 years, but yeah, it was just like the darndest thing.
I can imagine you're just like, I'm reading. And like you're like you said, the process of, oh wait, oh, like you mean like right now.
It caught me off guard completely.
I will, yeah. Okay, so maybe this was one of your first dance songs, maybe not, I don't know, but 3 songs that you would put on your kissing music playlist.
Okay. And we didn't actually have a band at our wedding. We had a really tiny wedding, and we had like a string quartet. And, yeah, so
Ooh.
I didn't have that kind of wedding. It would have been fun, but we decided we wanted to keep it small and drama free as much as possible. So I don't have one of those songs. And I was thinking about, like, again, the different kinds of kissing. And my first thought was basically like, there's got to be a Hozier song on this list. There's just kind of got to be. And for me, it was "It Will Come Back." It's kind of got that grungy, bluesy groove to it that is just like,
that's all we need to know. That's going on the kissing music playlist.
yes, exactly. So there's that. And then on the sort of more sweet and soulful end is Leslie Odom Jr. singing the jazz standard "Cheer Up, Charlie."
Oh, okay.
It's a very kind of gentle, lovely song, and it's Leslie Odom Jr. I mean, his voice is so gorgeous. And then the last one for me is it is a duo called You and Me, and half of the duo is Pink.
Okay.
And it's her and a man who I can't remember his name. Can I remember any names?
You can think of the song that you're talking about, yeah.
And the song is also You and Me. And the reason why I love it is because I can't have a list of songs and not have harmony on it.
Okay.
Specifically vocal harmony, because I grew up, singing. My cousin is a singer-songwriter. My family grew up harmonizing. It's important to me specifically. And this particular song is it's so sincere, and it has beautiful harmonies, and it has lyrics like, "You can be flawed enough, but perfect for a person."
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone who will be there when you fall apart. And so it's just got this lovely sort of non-idealized version of romance that just feels perfect for this kind of a list.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of the songs, the kissing music playlist songs that all the authors talk about are on a Spotify playlist, and Adele's will be added to that playlist as well. So if you would like to check that out, the link for that will be in the comments when you're watching, so you can check out all the songs and put them on your kissing music playlist.
And it sounds like that would make great writing music
it could be inspirational for sure. Yeah. So speaking of writing, we're going to talk a little bit more now about your books. So Can you tell us, I know you a new series has been releasing. We have a couple out already. So let's hear about it.
So first one is Acting Up. And this is my self debut. And it is, as you mentioned, set in theater. She is a stage manager. He is a director, and they have the play of their lives on their hands. So it has the potential to make their career, but he wants to cast Susan Vernon, her college nemesis.
Oh no!
As the leading lady, and she's undeniably talented.
Manager, and she has to deal with her.
Susan is undeniably talented, but these two have also been best friends for about 12 years. So it's a friends to lovers, and it's set in theater. And hopefully, if you teared up when Neil Patrick Harris, and I think it was the 2013 Tony Awards, did his little patter about, the kids are watching it at home. We just want you to know we were that kid. Like, if you were a theater kid, this is basically my love letter to theater kids.
I taught high school theater for years, so yeah.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, all those theater kids. Oh my goodness.
And number 2.
I love this cover. It is so sexy.
This when I got this cover, do you know how much I gasped? I was just like, oh my God.
Everything about it is stunning. The way they're looking at each other, her dress, it's just people. It's a beautiful cover. You need to get it.
It is a beautiful, beautiful cover. And actually, this is I shouldn't have favorites, but this is my favorite of the series, honestly. And this is in Acting Up, the Susan Vernon, because Lady Susan was an epistolary novel. Mm-hmm. Susan Vernon has a correspondence with her actress sort of best frenemy. They're often up for the same roles. They're kind of like keeping each other like cozy. Hi. Oh, love you, kind of thing. Well, this is the frenemy. And she is down in Washington, D.C., which is where I live, working at the Folger Theater when he meets her. He is a lobbyist for STEM education and a donor to the Folger. And so he meets her at a benefit. And they're very much opposites attract. And beyond that, I won't spoil it.
Yeah, so this is always interesting, too, because we have a person in the theater world and outside of the theater world together. So, yeah.
Oh, and boy, howdy, there comes some conflict, because when her theater gig is up, she gets a different gig, and it's very different.
A lot of choices have to happen, sure.
Yes.
So, okay, and then there's the third one. Number 3. It is with the cat.
Yes, there's the cat, the asshole cat. That is Miranda, the asshole cat, right there. She is a tortoiseshell cat, and tortoiseshell cats are known to have tortitude, and she does in spades. Mm-hmm. And so this couple we first saw in Acting Up. They were first falling in love. This is their second chance, a couple of years after the events of Acting Up. And Freddie was the assistant stage manager to Kath, who was the lead in Acting Up. And James was the leading man of the production that they were in. And we see them start to fall in love in that. And then he ends up going to LA after everything is over, and they have kind of an amicable-ish breakup. And now it's 2 years later, and he's back in New York with a big gig, and he's getting a lot of notoriety, and she hates attention.
Oh, so to date him would mean that attention would shine on her too.
Exactly. Yeah. And number 4 is coming out shortly, and that is going to be Fast Acting.
Fast Acting. Now, have we seen the cover for that yet?
No, I haven't seen the cover for that yet. I haven't even seen sketches yet.
But we will. So can you tell us who the artist is?
Marika Bailey, yes.
Okay, Marika Bailey, yeah. So Marika Bailey, yeah, wonderful. So that's also something to watch for, is the cover reveal of Fast Acting, and then
Fast Acting.
When that comes out, we'll be able to do the pre-order as well.
Yes, and the reason why it's called Fast Acting is it is 2 of the secondary characters in Method Acting who are both attending these guys' destination wedding. Spoiler alert, HEA. And we meet them first in Method Acting, and they're basically both the friends going, oh, so you've met someone. Do they have a friend?
Oh, so I love that. I do love when it's like the best friend of each of the main characters in one book end up together in their own book. Like, that's fun.
Yes. And they only have a weekend, so Fast Acting.
If you want to make this work, you better make it count. Is it in the Bahamas by any chance?
No, it's actually on Maryland's eastern shore. I kept it domestic, but it's a beautiful location, trust me. And Kathleen is also an actress, so every book has somebody who works in the theater. Acting Up, of course, is pretty much everybody works in the theater. Mm-hmm. And then at least one of the leads is an actor in all of the subsequent ones, which is funny because when I wrote Acting Up, I was like, I'm going to write a theater book where the leads are not actors.
So you got that out of the way, and then from then on out.
I started writing actors again.
Well, and it's interesting though, because even like if you are an actor, like everyone if you've ever like been in the theater, you end up doing pretty much all of it at some point. You maybe not be an expert at all of it, but you get experience in most of it at some point. So.
Exactly.
So that's coming. We'll be watching for that towards the end of this year. Anything else you want to tell us about or tease out?
Yeah, actually, so it just went to my editor. I had this idea for a novella, as I mentioned, The Wedding Date, which I love, which is basically Deborah Messing. Again, names. The main character, she has to go to her sister's wedding back in London, and her ex is going to be there, and she doesn't want to face him without someone on her arm, and so she hires a male escort.
Okay.
Played by Dermot Mulroney. And so I had this thought, what if it was that? But what if it wasn't the sister of the bride, but it was the mother of the bride?
Okay. The mother of the bride who doesn't want to go single because someone is going to be there.
Because her ex-husband.
Oh, that's right. Well, yes, the ex-husband, the father of the bride,
is going to be there, and he is a remarkable garbage person.
Ugh.
And then I was kind of like, and what if, speaking of Ted Lasso, what if this main character is essentially like Hannah Waddingham? She's just this beautiful, statuesque, got it together, boss lady, who, when she is around her ex, she just falls apart just because he's such a garbage person. Who in Ted Lasso, her ex is played by Tony Head. And so I've kind of had those two people in mind for those characters as well in terms of descriptions and all that. So that's gonna come out whenever I decide it comes out.
Yeah.
Because it's a novella, and because I'm gonna put it in KU at least for a time, just to see how that goes. And it's going to be called The Wedding Bait.
Oh, so you even already have that all set too.
I actually made my own cover for this one.
Wedding bait. So yeah, oh, that's fun. It sounds like fun, and it sounds like you have like the kind of like, the tropes that you're clicking into and everything. So we'll be able to watch for that as well. That's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, this was great. So thank you so much for joining me today. This has been Kissless Confessions. Make sure that you check out Adele's work. I'm going to have links to her website where you can find out more about her books down below. And yeah, so make sure you check the books out and check out the Spotify playlist. And that's it. This has been Kissless Confessions. I'm Melanie Johnson. My guest today was
Adele Buck. Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Adele.